What's up, everybody? Grid by Guru here, and today what we're going to do is we are going to look at the new Martingale trailing mode on Pionex. Okay, so I will say that this video is going to be a little bit longer. I want to make sure everybody kind of understands everything that is going into the video and how it exactly works. So if you're on the app, this is an option for you, I believe. If not, it will be coming soon. It is an option for iOS users who are using TestFlight. So if you are not familiar with TestFlight is it's an app that kind of lets Pionex push out a newer version to iOS users quicker. So if you're not already on TestFlight, check out one of my other videos. Look for it, search it. I showed how iOS users can get TestFlight and kind of walk through the steps on that. If you're not part of Pionex already, click the link below. There are tons of trading bots built in, so you don't have to watch the charts all day. You have a 0.05% trading fee when using these bots, so it's one of the lowest out there. It's a great exchange. Okay, all right. So use the link below. Use the link. Sign up. Send me a message if you have trouble. I'm on Telegram. I am on Discord. If you have trouble setting up one of these bots, let me know and I will personally help you get started with as little as 5-10 USDT. So that is my commitment to you. Before we get started, what I am going to do is I'm going to break this video up into kind of like 4 different parts. Okay, the first part's going to be what a martingale trading strategy actually is. I'm going to talk a little bit about that. I'm going to talk a little bit about the smart trade. I'm going to talk a little bit about a trailing trade. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it all together and kind of show you some of the parameters and different things that you can use on the actual app. So I'm going to bring up my app. I'm going to show you guys some of the different parameters and what exactly they mean. All right. All right. So as I said, this one does kind of get a little bit longer. Stick around. Hopefully it will help you out. I think that this is going to be an awesome bot. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's get started. So the first thing that we're going to talk about today is a standard martingale strategy. So what the martingale strategy does is it will, based on, I'm going to go down to an hour. What it will do is it will put different buys and sells. So what you would end up having is you may have a buy right here, right here, right here, right here. And usually what ends up happening is they are spaced out. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to actually adjust them. So I'm going to make this one. Let's make this one, we're going to say, we're going to make this one 46. Actually, no, we're going to make that one 46.4, I'll say. Not 464, 46.4. All right. The next one I'm going to make is 46.3. And then I'll do 46.2. So I'm going to need to go down in time frames. Now, when you're making these, you can use basically any type of, so let me jump down time frame. Let me go, I'll do 30 minutes. You can jump down to, or you can use any type of scale. I use these so you guys can end up seeing them. Hopefully it makes things a whole lot easier for you. So you can end up seeing them a little bit and kind of understanding a little bit more. So the idea is that the martingale, you are literally averaging your position down. So what you end up doing is you, on this first line, you would maybe put, you'd put a buy-in for 100, we'll say 100 USDT. The next line, what you would do is you would put a buy-in for double your first buy. So you have 200. So you now have 100. Oops, I don't want to make a line. You now have a buy at 46.4 for 100. And you have a buy at 46.3 for 200. Okay? And so what you end up doing with that is you now have a total of 300 at whatever the average price would be. Okay? So it's going to be about 46.350. I think. I don't think that's right. Hang on. Because it's weighted. Let me see. 46.4. So it would be about 46.333 is what your average would be because it is weighted. Now, as you keep going, it's going to continue buying that that dip. So the next price is going to be 400. So it would be a buy of 400. And this last one is going to be a buy of 800. Now, the idea behind it is you, at this price, if you have one buy, your buy price is at 46,400. Now, if it drops down to here, you have, and we just did the math, your new buy price is at 46,333. If we drop down to 46.2, your buy price is going to drop even more. And then if we go down to 46.1, it will drop even more. Now, the idea behind that's the break-even price, is what you're really wanting to look at. And you can set it up to sell 1 to 5% above the break-even price. So you have a take profit of like 2%, 5%, whatever percentage you feel comfortable with. And what it will do is it will automatically sell it and be done. That is going to be what the standard Martingale strategy does. With Pionex, their Martingale bot, okay, it moves in what's called rounds. So every time the bot makes a sell, that is considered what they call, Pionex calls it a round. And what that means, it has gone through some buys and it has sold. It has gone through some buys and it has sold. So what this looks like is if Bitcoin dips down into 46.359 and comes back up, it has bought this 46.6 or 46.4, I'm sorry. If I said, hey, I want to do a 1% sell. So after it hits this, that's my average price, 46.4. Once it goes up 1%, it will sell. That round will start over. So it will start over depending on where exactly you sold it and where exactly you've bought it. Okay. So I'm hoping that that helps out with what the Martingale strategy is. It's a very useful strategy. Some people say that it's not as efficient as what they would like. What I wanted to do is I'm wanting to make sure everybody kind of understands what the strategy is before we get into the more detailed stuff. So I'm hoping that you understand that strategy now and we can move on. If not, I did make another video about specifically about the Martingale strategy, but I'm hoping we can move on to what we call the next part of it, which is called a smart trade. All right. So I'm going to get rid of these lines. Let me get rid of these. Okay. So with a smart trade is going to end up working as you either have a limit price, I believe, or a market price. What you will do for Pionex is you will enter the price that you are wanting to buy the cryptocurrency at, so that whatever coin you want. So in this case, I would be buying Bitcoin, and what I would do is it's basically to buy and a sell. So I could say, you know what? I'll bring it up here. I want to buy a Bitcoin when that price hits 47. So when that price hits 47,000, I want to buy Bitcoin. I want to sell it for a 5% increase. So if you end up doing the math, okay, you could say 47,000. That means that if I did a 5% increase, that means it would sell at 49,350. Okay, 47,350. Sorry, 49,350. So it's going to be up quite a ways. This is on a 30-minute chart. I can also put in there that I want to make sure that if it continues to drop, maybe it continues to drop. It continues to drop. So a lot of times people do a 1-to-2 risk to reward ratio. So that means that if I'm doing a 5% sell, that means I'm wanting to risk only 2.5%. So I may put a stop loss down in here. Okay, so you have a buy, and then you have that buy will trigger the sell, and it will also trigger a stop loss. Okay, those of you who are familiar with stocks, if you have ever dealt with orders that one triggers another or anything like that, that's very similar to what a smart trade order is on Pionex. Okay, so I'm hoping that that helps understand what a smart trade is. And again, stick with me. Like I said, this video is going to be a little bit longer. Stick with me, and I promise I'm going to tie everything in together. This brings us to our next trade, a trailing buy and a trailing sell. They both work very similar together. However, one is buying and one's selling. So with a trailing buy or a trailing sell, what you will want to do is you will want to make sure that you have a couple of different things. The first thing that you will want to do is we're going to pretend like we're going to set up a trailing buy on this one. And I'm going to actually change it to a 5 minutes so we can watch it. So if I set up a trailing buy and say I want it to be a trailing buy, and the trigger price is going to be about 47,000. Okay, and I want a rebound, I think is what Pionex calls it, a rebound, a max rebound of say like 1%. or a trailing buy of 1%. I forget exactly what Pionex labels it as. That means that what will happen is this buy will continue to trail. It will continue going down. So it's not a limit. So as soon as it ends up activating, so right there, it crossed that line, it activated that trailing buy. So now what ends up happening is my buy price will trail the price of Bitcoin until it bounces back 1%. So what that means is, that means if this price comes down and it goes all the way down and it drops, we'll say something crazy, 10%, before jumping back up 1%, that means that I have actually gone and I have watched it fall that 10%, and then I actually bought in at a 9%. How would I explain that? The price has gone down 9% before I actually bought it. So it would have gone down 9 extra percent instead of me just saying, hey, I want to buy it at 47, or having to sit there and watch the market the whole time while I'm like, is it going to go? Is it going to go? I think this is. So what ends up happening is, as the trailing buy price, once it's triggered, and it has to go another 1% before it buys. So what ends up happening is, it could go down, it could go down, it could go down, and say it goes down 5%. And you're like, okay. And then it goes up 0.99%. And then it drops again. That buy price did not happen. Okay, that buy price did not happen because it didn't go up 1%. So what a lot of people do is they will use that in order to get a good position, because they'll know, all right, we're kind of on a downward trend, but I don't know, nobody knows when the exact bottom will be. So what they do is they may put a trailing buy in, and then hopefully what they'll do is they'll see it and they will put a trailing buy in, and then it will trigger. So on a day, like if we go and we look at the daily, so if you look back here on December 4th, a trailing buy would have been great on this one, because this giant wick comes all the way down to about 41, and then it comes back up. So a trailing buy would have let this go all the way down, more than likely, as long as it wasn't crazy. And then it would have come back up and you would already be in profit. Now, on the flip side, a trailing sell works the exact same way, only you're selling. So it will continue to trail this price as it goes up until it hits the percentage that you want to sell it at. So um, say, Bitcoin is sitting there and it's at 40,000, and it never dips more than 10%, and it goes all the way up to, let's see, what's the biggest dip on this? So let's say you bought in Bitcoin on September 29th, and you just let it ride up. So that's a 1% down fall. It's a 2%, 2.5%. That could have been one. What's this one? This one looks like the biggest candle. So that's 5%. So we'll say you bought in September 29th, and you said, I want it at a 5% decrease. You would have had that sell order trailing the entire time, more than likely. I don't know about this candle on October 12th, all the way up until October 21st. And that's when it would have sold, because it would have, if you had a 5% trail, it would have gone down 5.77%. So that's when you would have sold. You would have sold it for probably around 62. So you would have bought in around 40 and sold around 41 and sold around 62. So that is a trailing buy and a trailing sell. Again, if you have questions about that, I have another video about it. It's a whole lot easier. I have it on pencil and paper, and somebody ended up commenting. I went old school on it, and I did, absolutely I did. All right, so now let's try to bring this all together. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the MBTC USDT right now. That was the pair that I had pulled up. I was watching Bitcoin. I still am watching Bitcoin, but I found it's easier to maneuver using MBTC rather than the actual BTC. So you have a couple of different settings. And on this picture that I'm posting, that I have, you have a couple, you have two of them that you can end up seeing. So first one I'm going to talk a little bit about is the price scale settings. Okay. The next one I'm going to talk a little bit about is the the take profit settings. So what you end up having is you have the ability to, in this, you have the ability to go ahead and make sure that these are set up the way you want them to be set up. So the price scale settings, you will need to end up putting in either the price scale and the max rebound. So what that ends up looking like is your price scale is going to be what the price is dropping by. Okay, so the price scale is going to be the percent that the bot starts another safety order at, and Pionex calls them safety orders. So the 4 lines that I had before for the Martingale strategy, you can end up saying and specifying whether you want it to buy every 1% of a drop, every 2% of a drop, every 4% of a drop, every, I think up to 15% is what you can end up doing. Yeah, 0.2% all the way up to 15%. Now, this is for the trailing martingale. The max, what does it say? The max rebound, okay? The max rebound will be once that has started. So once you hit that 1%, it will be the max rebound will be very similar to what the trailing buy is. So you will end up having so say you say a 1%. So that means that when it triggers that safety and it keeps dropping, once it goes up 1%, that's when it will buy. Okay? That's going to be when it buys. So it's going to execute as a trailing order. So I'm going to say that again. On the trailing martingale, the first price scale setting that you have is you have a price scale, and the price scale is going to be set to determine how often you want this bot to buy when the price drops. So you could say again, I want the price to buy, or the bot to buy, every 1% it drops. Now, you can then flip it around and you could say the max rebound for the percent. That indicates to the bot that this is a trailing buy. So what you then end up having is this bot will trail until, if you put like a 1% in, until it hits the very low and it comes back up 1%. Okay? I'm hoping that helps out. Think of that as like the trailing buy. The take profit settings are going to be the trailing sell. So think about that as like a trailing sell. So what you end up having with that is you have a take profit ratio. So you put your percent. So if you want to buy every 1% and you want to sell once it hits at least a 2%, you can do that. The trailing percent, though, you would end up, say you wanted to hit, so you wanted to activate when it hits 2%, and you may have a trailing percent of 0.5% because you want to lock in those um, those profits. So it may hit 2%, it may keep going all the way up to 5%. But if it drops all the way down to 4.5%, that is when it will actually sell. So what you end up having is there has been times when a price just bottoms out. So say the market crashes, okay, and it goes like it did back in, I think it was March. It goes from like 50 all the way down to 28K, and you have a lot of potential there. Or say you get on a coin and it has just some amazing news and it just shoots off. Maybe it jumps 100% in a day. The problem with a normal take profit is you will only get that percentage. But if it just rockets and you have a trailing take profit on your martingale, then what it's going to do is it's going to keep letting it go higher, 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 higher until that trailing take profit percentage is hit. So it may go 100%, and as soon as it drops back down to 99.5%, that's when it's going to end up actually selling. So that, again, that is a very drastic measure, very drastic example. However, it is a real one. So this brings us to the volume scale. Okay. So the volume scale is going to end up being how often or how many safety orders you have. So if you're wanting, if you click on that part, you can have up to 25 safety orders. You do have to put more money in, I believe. Let me check real quick. No, I'm sorry. You don't have to put more money in. But, well, I think it looks like every coin is a little bit different. What I will say is the volume scale, it will be a little bit different, and investment wise it will be a little bit different based on how many safety orders you have. So the volume scale is how you would end up determining how many safety orders you also have. So what you will end up doing is you want to determine whether or not you want, I think the standard comes with 8 safety orders, might be 6, but you can have up to 25. But some people don't like that because that is a lot of money left out there kind of on the table, not doing anything. But again, it's safe. The last thing that I'm going to end up explaining is the trigger price. You can have a trigger price on this just like any other price, and you also have a stop scaling price. And that stop scaling price, it basically means that no matter what, when that price is hit, the bot will stop scaling. Okay. Um, so you have your investment, the max safety order, stop scaling price. Oh, the trigger price is optional, and the stop scaling price is also optional. I just saw that on my app. I want to make sure everyone knew that. So what you can end up doing is it's very similar to kind of like a stop loss, but it is not a actual stop loss. It just means that there are going to be no further purchases will be made. Um, it's basically so that say that there is a coin that skyrockets 100%. Well, you don't want to do that take profit and then have your Martingale bot up at the very top buy and start buying all the way down and it fall. So that's kind of to help prevent sudden skyrockets and sudden falls at the same time. All right. All right, everybody. I'm hoping that this has helped you out. I'm hoping that this has kind of explained some of the details to you. One thing I did not talk about was the investment part. I'm hoping that you guys all know what the investment tab is for Pionex. So what I would like for you guys to do is, if you liked this video, I know it was long. I'm sorry I made it so long. I tried to kind of think about a starting point because it is something new. It is something a lot of people know about. It is something a lot of people are interested about. Again, thank you for hanging in there with me. I am on Telegram. I am on Discord. If you have questions, send me a message, Gridbot Guru. If you have questions, I am on Twitter. I am active in the Pionex Facebook group. Send me a message. Say, hey, I'm not 100% for sure. I will try my best to explain it for you. Hopefully, I can do a better job of it next time. What I want you guys to do is, I want you guys to, if this is something that has helped you out, I would love for you guys to make sure you like this video, subscribe to my channel. If you have questions, comments, concerns, any of the above, send them or put them in the comment section, okay? I do read them. I do read them and I try to help out anybody I can, okay? I also want to go ahead and end this video by saying I do not want anybody trading if you are using or borrowing funds from something that will be needed. So if you are late or you're using your car payment funds to invest in cryptocurrency, please don't do that. Make sure you take care of all your necessities first before going into investments, okay? I've been hearing about people and they've said, oh, I lost this, I lost that. It can happen. Okay, it can happen. So please make sure you have your real life situation handled before jumping into crypto. All right. Okay, everybody. As always, I hope you guys all have a great week trading, and I hope you guys stay green. See you next time.